Hello. So today we have Dr. Anurag Batra. He's one of the youngest media moguls in India, a serial entrepreneur and a mentor to many successful entrepreneurs. He's a man of many talents who adorns many hats. So, for example, he's an entrepreneur, BW Business World, exchange4media. Apart from that, he's also an author, an angel investor, a TV show host. And he believes that if you make your hobby your profession, you don't have to work and life is going to be a blessing. So, welcome to the show, sir. And it's been a pleasure that you've consented to be part of this show. Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the
Anurag. Always pleasure speaking to an Anurag.
Yes, actually, it's an Anurag hosting and another Anurag. So, sir, I'll straight away get into the questions that in your formative years, the school, college, these leave behind a lot of impact on our entire life. So, what was that one incident which changed your outlook towards life?
Anurag, it's never that one incident that changes. It's how you grow up. It's a lot of influences. But I would say my entry into MDI changed my career because I met very bright people there, my batchmates. It's a very good institution. And, good institutions are a passport to success. At least at the entry level, they help you get through to a good job. So I would say MDI was a turning point in my life. In 94, I got admission in MDI. I studied in MDI from 94 to 96. I think that those were very good years.
So, sir, before MDI, you did a BTech in computer science. So, in most cases, a BTech in computer science often goes unutilized and probably just becomes a gateway to cracking CAT. So now, sir, in retrospect, how would you reflect on your decision to pursue
I'll tell
engineering?
you, I was growing up at a time when my parents had admission and they said to me when I was in 10th की engineering कर लेना उसके बाद life is a breeze मस्ती है बस इतना कर लो फिर ठीक हो जाएगा. And I was a decent student, so when I got into engineering, I went to engineering because my parents told me, it was one of the better choices at that time. So really, engineering was done because it was other people were doing engineering. Whereas when it comes to MBA, I chose to do MBA because my father wanted me to do an MTech, and I said, I don't want to do an MTech. I'd rather do an MBA. I don't want to do a coding job. So I think MBA doesn't go waste. Similarly, the BTech doesn't go waste. I'll tell you why I say that. At the end of the day, education is also about life experiences. In BTech, for the first time I left home, I went to a hostel and I got life experiences. So it's never a waste in that sense. Of course, in terms of BTech computer science and applying computer science, unless until you're in a job, in a coding job or an IT services job, yes, the direct application of what you learned in engineering doesn't happen. But Anurag, I believe nothing goes in waste in life. Every experience teaches you everything. So engineering, I would say, jokingly, I say I did a BTech in beer drinking, not computer science, but I don't drink that often now. I do social drinking. But in those years, I went to hostel for the first time. I started smoking. I started drinking. I made a lot of friends. I became the extrovert I am today. So really, I became independent because for the first time I went into a hotel. So the engineering campus doesn't just teach you engineering. Once you live in the hostel, it teaches you to be emotionally strong. It teaches you to live your life and make your own choices yourself. So it brings responsibility. And dare I say, I kind of experimented a lot while I was in the engineering campus. And I think I did whatever I did very early in life, relatively speaking. I think engineering I made a lot of friends. I had lots of good time. And I think that's also important.
Fair point.
It doesn't go waste. Nothing goes waste.
No, my only concern was that, so like in India, people after doing engineering probably think what they want to do with their life. So it becomes like, okay, pehle engineering kar lo beta.
Till then they are guided by, you're absolutely right, Anurag. Before that, they're guided by their parents. Once they get out, they get exposure. They also understand, do we want to do this kind of a job? So, they start thinking of the career then. Not everyone starts thinking of their career in 8th or 10th or 12th.
Yeah,
Some
so we
people
mostly follow our parents.
Yes. So
So now
that
coming
happens.
to,
And that's not a bad thing.
yeah.
Parents being the best for their children, that's okay.
So you had stated to us in an earlier interview on my blog, My MBA Story, that MBA is like a crash course in survival. And sir, you are an illustrious alum of MDI Gurgaon. You've been nominated by the government on their board. You're the president of the Alum Association. What exactly should a youngster be mentally prepared for during the MBA program? It's a lot of initial stress. I've seen my brother-in-law. He's your junior from MDI Gurgaon, Hemant. So what exactly is like the stress, and why did you say that you should be like prepared for a crash course of survival? Like, is survival?
See, I'll tell you, first of all, at the end of the day, I was lucky enough to get into MDI because lesser number of students used to apply. And that's a fact. I jokingly say I got into MDI when the quality control was bad. Though मैं मजाक में कहता हूँ, वो सच भी है. But life is about being lucky. Life is not being about the most intelligent, most hardworking. Of course, if you're intelligent and if you're hardworking, I keep saying that luck favors the brave. The harder you work, the luckier you get, and I believe in that. But I'll tell you why I said MBA is a crash course. See, one is you're dealing with people from various streams. Dare I say, their knowledge quotient is better, their exposure is better. You have a better understanding of what you want in life, you don't want in life. Also, MBA in good schools is very competitive. Whether you do case studies, whether do you team projects, it's a simulation of what happens in real life. So there is competition, there is collaboration, and dare I say, there is also exposure to the business world, which doesn't happen in engineering school. So really, I'll tell you at MDI, we wouldn't get any time. We would be so overloaded with work, which is what has prepared us for working hard today, right? Because we would do classes, then we would get assignments. It was about interacting with the industry. That teaches you a lot. So why I say MBA is I say, Anurag, MBA is much below average. But I think it teaches you a lot of things, namely how to compete. MBA is very competitive. The students, your classmates, your friends are very competitive. It may not come across, but they are. Secondly, you still got to collaborate with them. So it teaches you. Third, it gives you real life experiences of what's happening in the industry. And fourth, most of the B schools, especially, had a huge interaction with the industry. So you learn actual things of what's happening in the industry and not just theory. So in that way, it really prepares you for life.
Fair point, sir. Got it. In 1996, after you graduated from MDI, you had an offer from an IT services firm from the MDI campus, but you joined a friend who was setting up this real estate startup. 1996, like startup today is very different connotation. Colliers Jardine, and it was almost like entrepreneurship over your job. How did you convince your parents? So I read that your father jokingly said,
my father studied at BITS Pilani. He chose to be a professor. So I got a job with Mastech, Ashang Desai. In fact, I first met him last week. He was on my daily TV show. And I said, I want to call you and tell you a story, which I haven't told him, but I'll call him. I forgot to call him, but after your nudge, I'll call him. So I was all set to join, but there were 3 months and I went to see a friend who introduced me to his brother-in-law, who was Australian, setting up Colliers Jardine. And it was a joint venture with HDFC and Ireland FS. So very good kind of pedigree. The Australian explained the job to me. I liked it. And I came back home and I told my dad I will not join Mastech, but I'll join Colliers Jardine. So my dad asked me, what is Colliers Jardine? So I tried to explain to him that it does real estate research, it does consulting, it does broking. So my dad got onto the broking part and he said, "Ye dalali karni to itna padna." Those were old mindsets. The reason I share that story is that I think parents by and large are very understanding of the opportunities in the environment. I have two young kids. One of them is now making career choices. At the end of the day, our role as parents is to support them in their journey. They will select whatever they want. And dare I say, marks are important, but they're not the most important. You could have lesser marks and still do well because you are more hardworking, because you're more lucky, because you're more diligent, you're more sincere. You're doing something that you like, so it's not a job. So you actually put in much more effort than you did at a subject in college or school. So I think I keep saying you make your hobby or profession, you don't have to work. So you have to naturally select that you something that you enjoy doing. Because if you select that, then you're not working, you're having fun. And when you're having fun, you'll give it your best and automatically you'll succeed. So I joined Colliers, then I worked with Chesterton, then I joined J. Walter Thompson, then I started exchange4media. So I have an unusual journey. And one thing leads to another, to another, to another. So life is about serendipity. Things happen in a beautiful chance way. And while I make efforts, I believe that my life is preordained by God, by God's. I'm a Hindu, I believe in Prarabdha. But I make efforts because I don't know what God is. So I pray to God and I hope that I live up to my full potential and I contribute beyond myself. So I think, parents lead you to places where you think they think you will do well with what they are familiar. But today parents are also open to creative careers, like a chef, like a musician. So, being an entrepreneur, right? So I don't think today parents only think of engineering and doctor and CA and civil services. I think with success of so many people in so many domains and those careers becoming sustainable and respected and valuable, I think parents are much more open to new age careers than they ever were.
Absolutely, sir. I agree completely with you. So now let's say there are a lot of youngsters and who would want guidance on you, and a lot of them would be like confused that I have a choice to be a part of the slave, let's say, to the corporate world, a vice president with a fancy salary, vice president, director. And the second is to plunge into the risky, turbulent waters of entrepreneurship. So how does one choose? Like, because you've seen both worlds, you've made those difficult choices. How does
I
one
think my life is accidental serendipity. I didn't plan to be an entrepreneur, it happened. But if you're planning to be an entrepreneur, today is a good time. Why do I say that? 5 things. One, the society is more open to it. So there's no pressure. Second, if as an entrepreneur you succeed, great. If you fail, you'll get an even better job than you got pre-entrepreneurship. Third is today there is support systems, incubators, so on and so forth, which can help you in your dream. Fourth, there is funding available. And fifth, dare I say that when you're an entrepreneur, you are independent. The fruits that you get of your hard work, you enjoy. But let me give you the flip side. The flip side is as an entrepreneur, you have to work harder than you work in a job. At least 3 times harder. Second is, people look at the glamorous things of, there's a lot of struggle behind it. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of dealing with investors, dealing with customers, dealing with employees. So you have to deal with a lot of uncertainty. Can you deal with uncertainty? Is that a question you have to ask? Third, I keep saying life is about trade-offs. As I said, in entrepreneurship, you've got to spend much more time, right? So you'll watch less movies, you'll read less, you possibly will sleep less. Are you ready for that? You have to trade off. It's a trade-off. Entrepreneurship is also a trade-off. How much time, energy, emotional, energy you are spending in being an entrepreneur. So being an entrepreneur is easy and tough. It's like doing yoga. I mean, is it easy or tough? It depends on how you take it. But if you do yoga and you did it rightly, it will improve your health, right? You may have to get up early in the morning, do yoga, but it will help you. So being an entrepreneur is like doing yoga. It when you start, it seems tough, but as you go along, you start to enjoy it and become part of your daily life. I think that's how I'd like to explain it to anybody watching this. And at the end of the day, you got to, I may sound too simplistic. I said to you at the start, Anurag, choose what you love. If you choose what you love, anyway, it's not a job. You're enjoying what you do. When you're enjoying what you do, everything is a byproduct. Money is a byproduct, so on and so forth.
Sir, I mean, it's almost quite like a magical story that India's oldest and premier business magazine, Business World. So you would have probably been a reader some decades ago of it. So did you ever?
22 years.
Huh?
It is the second oldest. Business India is the oldest. We're in the 40th year. Business India is in the 45th year. So I'd like to be factual about this.
Yeah. But sir, like you were a reader at one point of time and you bought it.
You know what happened? I did build Anurag before Business World. I did build a media company that sites on advertising, marketing media. It's called exchange4media.com. There's a weekly called impactonnet.com and it is a monthly called pitchonnet.com. So it is not my first media enterprise. And again, when I was building exchange4media.com, I started it to build a B2B e-commerce company in media, where buying and selling of media time and space happened. But that didn't happen. We had started a daily newsletter, became popular for the last 18, 19 years. I can say we are the homepage of everybody in advertising, marketing, media, exchange4media.com. So I think this was my second attempt at building a media company. First was successful. So today we are not just a magazine, we are of course a magazine, but we are a daily digital platform, www.businessworld.in. We are becoming digital in a way that it should be. We're becoming video in a way it should be. So I'm not in the business of magazines, websites, events. I'm in the business of a brand and content that manifests itself in a 360-degree manner. We built many B2B, business to business, many B2C, business to consumer community. For example, bwhotelier.com, bweducation.com, bwpeople.com. So, what I'd say is that I was lucky enough to inherit a fantastic brand and I built on top of it, and my best is yet to come. So I would encourage all of you to pick up a copy of Business World or read businessworld.in, and I promise you it will help you in whatever little I achieved, Anurag, because I read more than ever. I still read a lot of newspapers. But even at the age of 10, I used to read 4 or 5 newspapers. By the age of 20, I would read all the venerable magazines, Indian or international. I would read more books. So reading makes you wiser. It helps you in your career. And, we live in a knowledge economy. So, Business World is part of that knowledge economy. So yes, I was a reader for 21 odd years, and for the last 6.5 years, I have owned it.
It's like magical from being a reader of a magazine to becoming the owner. I mean, this is like a dream come true. So it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So
I see it as a responsibility.
Yeah.
Anurag, I see it as a responsibility. I still have a big vision for Business World. I have not achieved all of it. So there is a lot of work in progress.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to even achieve greater heights. So what has been that inflection point in your career? So you talked a lot about accidental serendipity. That one moment which just changed, okay, now Anurag Batra from this level is suddenly catapulted to a very next level.
No, I don't think like that, Anurag, I'll be honest. I think in terms of milestones, I have to build this, one thing leads to another. So, I don't think like I work very hard. I get up every morning. I work very, very hard. And, I still have a long way to go. But I give it my best. And I know at some stage the fruits will come in. So what also happens is, Anurag, life is a journey.
Yes, sir. And sir, what about that one moment where you failed? I mean, yeah, it's like...
I started a media school. For example, we are lucky that somebody like Rubika Liaquat on ABP News are from our school. So we ran it for 5 years, we shut it down. I started other ventures, invested in other ventures, they haven't worked. So, I keep saying, Anurag, that failure is not final and neither is success. So, what you have to do is, I also keep saying, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. There's a thing called failure. It's the idea fails, the project fails, the product fails. So you go back, you improve, you come back. The person never fails. As long as you ever stand up and get back on your feet and you give it your best. And you give it your best and magic happens.
So there is no stigma attached to failure per se, like in our society.
In India, there is. To be honest, it has become lesser, but still there is a stigma attached to failure. So I keep saying we only celebrate success, we don't celebrate failure.
Yeah.
The day we celebrate failure, we'll have a product company out of India. We'll have a Google built out of India.
Absolutely, sir. So what have been those hobbies which help you unwind? So once you said you make your hobby only your work, but apart from that also, and then what is your fitness regime?
So I'll tell you, my hobby is consuming content. I used to consume a lot of movie content. I'm not able to watch that many movies. In fact, in lockdown, I haven't been able to watch too many. I'm too busy working. Yes, I love reading, love watching movies, love listening to music. My fitness regime is I do yoga in the morning and I've started to do cycling. So I need to be better at my fitness and I'm working in that direction.
And so what is that one book that has left a huge impact on you? Because you read
I read a lot of books, so you can't say one, but I'll give you 2, 3. One is Tuesdays with Mori by Mitch Albom, which I read about 15, 17 years back. Second, a book I read 5, 6 years back called The Gifts of Imperfection by a lady.
The
Gifts of Imperfection.
Gifts of Imperfection.
And last year, a friend of mine gave me a book called Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. These are 3 books I would say you can read. For entrepreneurs, I would say there's a book called The Hard Things About Hard Things.
So my final question to you, what would be that advice which Mr. Anurag Batra would give to his younger self, the Anurag Batra aged 20?
So one is, I would say that to myself would be
youngster at the age of 20 now, based on your experience.
See, I don't come from an entrepreneur's family. My parents are academicians. One would be to have mentors who tell you in business and listen to them. Second, listen to your wife or your partner because sometimes they are very wise and they can see things that you don't. Third is, be more objective about things. Don't be emotional. It's very tough, but it is possible. And fourth, I'd say is, I would say to Anurag, younger Anurag, is that, celebrate whatever works while you continue to improve whatever doesn't work. Be proud of what you achieved and thank God. I believe gratitude is very important. If you are grateful for what you achieved, more comes to you.
Absolutely. So gratitude is one virtue that is missing in the current generation of youngsters. I mean, it's like the sense of entitlement is what it reveals, that we just feel like we are.
So, some of them are good, some of them are not good, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And I want to say to your viewers before I leave, I follow 5 mantra. They're in my book also. It's called 8 Days a Week. It's coming out. It's a metaphor on loving what you do and doing what you love.
Okay.
One is, if you can dream it, you can do it. Visualization is key. Second is, I wrote a piece called Introduction Capital. The gist of it is that if you help other people grow, God helps you grow.
Yes.
Third is, never say never. Have an open mind. Mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Fourth, if you believe you're lucky, you get lucky. So it's what you believe makes you who you are. Right? And last but not the least, I keep saying that, I said it before, life is a trade-off. You have to decide what you want to put your energy and time into. Whatever you put your energy and focus into will grow. So it's up to you. You can make anything happen. So sky is the limit. Whatever you dream can happen.
Wow. So amazing words of wisdom from you, sir. And thank you so much for sharing your journey so candidly. I mean, such a celebrated person in the entrepreneurship circle, consenting to come on our shows, candidly telling about his life experiences is such a pleasure. And the audience, I would request you to like this video, and it's also now available on Google Podcast as well as Apple iTunes. So in case you want just the conversation while driving, probably you could use that as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show, sir. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you.
All the best to your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.